guys, and welcome to my chaotic mess. If you're new here, my name is Melissa. Today we are finally doing the Disney tips and tricks video. I'm so sorry that this took so long to record, but life has been just not the best for me, and I will talk more about that in my live. You will have already seen before this video goes up, so hopefully if you are curious and you haven't watched the live, go back, watch the live. I think if it's not on like the list of videos, I think if you go to my page, there's a section where you can click lives and it will be the most recent live. So I will be explaining everything in there. Now, I've already recorded this video once and the quality was horrible because I used the webcam that I've had for years, and now I have the laptop set up and I'm using the laptop webcam, so it's better quality. I need to get a new webcam for the setup that I would like to have, so stay tuned for that. Oh, alright, so since I've already recorded this once, maybe I can make it not so chaotic, because the last one was, well, it was just all over the place. Let's just be honest, it wasn't my best work. But that being said, I wrote down everything I could think of as far as tips and tricks. I actually have more energy this time recording it, so there's that, because I did record the other one last week and I didn't have the best energy last week. I don't have a lot of energy today, so don't let that fool you, but it's morning time. I have my monster, so we're gonna get this done. I honestly, I wonder if I can find who sent in this request. I think I screen saved it, but I had to get a new phone and I'm pretty sure everything transferred over, but also I might have deleted it on accident because I did go through and purge like a lot of screen grabs, because I've been printing out photos every month, because with free prints I can print up to like $85 and all I pay is the shipping, which is like $8. So because I have over 2,000 photos on my phone, and if you don't know me, I am one that likes to print out. I don't think it was before Christmas, so I must have deleted it, but I like to print out all my photos and I hang some on the wall, and then my goal is to put all the rest into photo albums, just because you never know what's going to happen with technology, and I like to have those memories to where I can just look at them whenever I want, because technology fails you. So, you know, anyway, that's not like a sponsor to get anything, because you know I'm not going to have, I don't have sponsors. I probably never will have enough subscribers, whatever, to have sponsors, and that honestly doesn't bother me. So I just want you guys to know that it doesn't bother me. I'm not on here to try and grow my channel to millions and millions of people. I will be happy with just, you know, those of you who actually watch my videos normally and comment, and you guys, I really enjoy interacting with you. So again, thank you so much. You have no idea like how much joy your comments bring me, because sometimes I feel isolated. Like my family, for the most part, I do have some family here in Florida, but they like live 3 hours from me. And then the rest of my family is in Indiana. And so sometimes I just feel a little isolated because my husband works every day, just about. And, you know, there's just so much going on. And see, the thing is, what you don't realize is that when my husband comes home, we have dinner, and he's up for maybe 2 hours, and then he goes to bed because he gets up early to go to work. So it's just kind of an isolating life sometimes, and it's good to have you guys to chit chat with, talk to. And I'll talk more about this in the live so you'll know more about it. You will have already seen that, but like, yeah, it just, I'll talk about it in the live. It's just very isolating life, and you can get lonely sometimes. Anyway, but that's not what you're here for. You're not here to hear about my sad life. So, without further ado, let's get into the Disney tips and tricks. I do have general tips and tricks, and then I have recommendation for rides. Only one park do I think I have. Rides and attractions, I should specify. Rides and attractions. I think only one park I left food recommendations. So, here's the thing. Like, Magic Kingdom is the only park I have, like, true love for. I've been to Epcot, but, like, not really been to Epcot. And I'll explain that when we get to the parks section. So, but, yeah. Anyway, let's try and not make this super crazy. So let's just start with, hey, I want to go to Disney, right? Here's my recommendation. My recommendation is this. Unless you're getting a vacation package through Disney themselves, or even, and you want to watch non-Disney companies, because a lot of times they'll say they're getting you on Disney property, and what you find out is that you're really like right off of Disney property, so like the actual Disney shuttles won't come, but they'll have a shuttle to take. It's a big mess, so you've got to be kind of careful with who you go through to book your vacation package with, especially if you're getting like the all-inclusive, like hotel, shuttle, which shuttles are usually free, park entry, like any after-hour perks and stuff like that. You have to really watch who you're doing that with, because there are a lot of scammer companies. I mean, your vacation will actually be a legit vacation, but you're not going to get like the after-hour perks or the before rope drop perks or anything like that unless you're in an actual Disney property and you book it through Disney. Just putting that out there. But that's not what my first tip is. My first tip was that if you are not buying that vacation package through Disney, I really, really recommend staying off property, because the hotels are a lot more affordable and just as nice as a Disney property hotel. And they almost every hotel, I mean hotel, not like motel, but like an actual hotel will have like complimentary breakfast and stuff like that. Now, there are some that are better than others, I will say that. We stayed at one, I forget the name of it, but it had like a jester in front of it. But like their breakfast was amazing, like hot breakfast every morning. One morning I had biscuits and gravy. That was amazing. So just, you can get really good perks staying off Disney property, and you save more money to buy, Disney merch. But now the only exception to that would be that if you are one that prefers to stay at luxury hotels, hotels that cost over $300 a night, you are probably better off staying on Disney property at that point, because Disney property, you can usually find some that are pretty affordable for considering for luxury standards, I should say. Now, the other thing is, if you're staying at the Holiday Inn, there is a Holiday Inn on Disney property, and there is one off Disney property that's probably going to be about $100 cheaper per night. So you got to really decide, how important is it for you to be on that Disney property? Is it worth an extra $100 a night? I'm just saying. and there's not really a lot of off season for Disney. Usually, I would say usually like January, February, March is would be considered off season because they have stuff going on the rest of the year, um, which makes it not really out of season. Like in October, you have Mickey's Not So Scary Halloween Party, along with at Epcot, you have the Food and Wine Festival, and um, I think that's it for like October. But then you get to like November, December, and all the Christmas stuff starts coming out, and then you have um, the there's a Christmas party thing that they started, and I don't know much about other parks besides Magic Kingdom. I'm just going to be honest. I do know about Hollywood Studios. I've been to Hollywood Studios a few times, but like I know more about Magic Kingdom than I do any of the other parks. So I'm just going to throw that out there. But yeah, there's not really an off season. So if unless you're willing to go in January, February, March, just know that if Florida is having an actual winter that year, the water rides will not be turned on. So if you're going to, let's say, Magic Kingdom, you won't be able to ride, I think it's called Tiana's Bayou Adventure now, but aka Splash Mountain. You won't be able to ride that. They'll shut it down if it's below a certain temperature outside. If you're going to Animal Kingdom, you won't be able to ride Kelly River Rapids. Um, and it's a hit or miss if we're going to have an actual winter. Last year we had an actual winter where it stayed around 30 degrees for months, and that's really odd for Florida, just to put that out there. That's really rare for us to have that long of a winter. Usually we get about 3 weeks of winter, and then it's back up into the 80s. So just throwing that out there. If you are looking to book in our off season, if we have an actual winter, you're not going to have the water rides, which there really aren't a lot of water rides unless you were planning on going to a water park. Those won't be open if it's below a certain temperature, just so you know. All right, so the next thing, use shuttles, use Uber, use Lyft if you want to. Well, Uber and Lyft are really gonna depend on where you are staying at within the park. Like, how close are you going to be to the park? That's really gonna determine if those are a better deal. I didn't realize how expensive Uber and Lyft were these days until recently. I mean, I didn't use them, but someone else I know had to book one, and that it's crazy. I'm just gonna say that it's crazy. Um, now, like, if you're only going like for a day, like if you're only going to the park for a day, it might be worth the Uber fee. I don't know. But anyway, I do recommend using the shuttles. They also have buses at some hotels where they have like contracts with Disney that the buses will come and pick you up and take you to the parks. So, look at that option as well. But the reason I say that is because parking, depending on the time of year you're going, can range anywhere from $35 to $55 a day. So it does add up. Now, if you get a vacation package, sometimes they will include parking, and you would just show the parking pass to the attendant, and they'll let you in. But that depending on what property you're staying at on Disney, it probably wouldn't be worth it, because like there are some that you could just take the monorail from, there's some you could take the Skyline from, there's some you could take the boat from. So it just really depends on, if you're staying on Disney property, what you are what you're. I can't think. This is more chaotic than I thought it would be. Ay, ay, ay. What was I saying? It really just depends on your preference. Personally, if I knew, like, I wasn't staying till close or whatever, I would just take the shuttle because the shuttles run all day, even at close, but you have to make sure you're out by a certain time, even at close, because there's some people that will linger, or, they'll be in line. Because if you get in line before the park closes, they just shut the line down so no one else can get in it. But if you're in the line, you get to ride the ride. So, but just remember, if you're doing a shuttle and you're in a line and there's still like an hour wait to ride the ride, you might miss your opportunity on that shuttle and then have to call an Uber or Lyft anyway. So you have to keep that in mind as well. Personally, me, I usually just do self-parking for a couple reasons. One, I just prefer to be able to come and go as I want, especially if you have like a park hopper, which we'll get into that. Actually, let's get into it now because I actually didn't write that one down. If you are going to go to Magic Kingdom, I don't recommend getting a park hopper because Magic Kingdom has so much to do that your park hopper would be wasted. But now if you're going to like Animal Kingdom, you can get through Animal Kingdom pretty quickly, or at least you used to be able to. I know they added like a Pandora section, and then right now they're remodeling another section. So, and maybe in the future it won't be a park hopper type of park either. I've never truly been to Epcot. Like, I've been to Epcot, but I'll get more into that in a little bit. But I just don't think park hoppers are worth it. Just my personal opinion. I would just rather, like, if you wanted to do all 4 parks, I would just do a park a day. And if you finish early, go out and explore Orlando or go to Downtown Disney or do something. Or it's not called Downtown Disney anymore. It's Disney Springs. But, go explore something else or go back through the park again. I just don't feel like park hoppers are worth the money that they are. I'm just going to throw that out there. And I think they are back now. I could be wrong. They might have just gotten rid of them altogether. Because I know after COVID, they got rid of park hoppers because you had to make a reservation to go to the park. You had, you picked the time you were going to enter. They were trying to basically control how many people could be in the park at a time. So, I honestly didn't look to see if park hoppers were still available, but if they are, I don't think they're worth it, and that's just my personal opinion. Okay, so let's talk about another money-saving trick. If you do not want to buy food in the park or drinks, you can take a cooler. It's recommended you take one of the soft coolers. You can't use loose ice. You have to use ice packs. I don't think there are measurements. No, I didn't write any measurements down, so I don't think there was measurements. You are not allowed to bring glass in, which should be obvious. You're not allowed to bring any like raw food that has to be heated to be eaten because there's no way for it to be cooked. You are you can bring snacks, drinks, again, as long as no glass containers, which I know a lot of people have switched to glass Tupperware, but if you're wanting to take snacks into the park, that like fruit or something like that, you're going to have to put it in a plastic Tupperware. I'm sorry, I know that sucks, but that's the rules. But the perk to that is you can bring your own reusable water bottle as long as it's not glass. You can bring like the whatever Stanley's made out of. You can bring those types. My ears, they just look crooked. You'll have to let me know. I don't know. Anyway, you can bring your own reusable water bottle. They have fountains throughout the whole park that the actual bottle fountains now. And last time I went to the park, I drank some of the water fountain water, and it's actually good now. So they fixed their water issue because the water used to be really bad. It was like horrible drinking water, but they fixed the issue, and it tastes fine now. So that being said, if you do bring a cooler in, when you get to security, just let them know, hey, I do have a cooler with some snacks in it. No, make sure there's no loose ice, no dry ice, only ice packs. So just throwing that out there. I feel like maybe I should skip. Yeah, let's skip that. Let's skip to another tip that I have on the other page. Because if you're bringing a cooler, you have two options. Three options. Three options. One, carry it around with you all day long. All day long, which means you would have to carry it on the ride. And a lot of rides, not a lot of rides, it depends on the park. But if you're like going on a roller coaster or something like that, they won't let you take it on there. What they're going to tell you is, we have lockers at the front of the park. That's your second option. Leave it in the locker at the front of the park. But with that, when you're ready to have a snack, it doesn't matter where you are in the park, you're going to have to walk all the way to the front of the park to go to your locker to get you a snack. Third option, one that I actually recommend, and I did do my research on this one, is you can bring a stroller or a motorized scooter. You can always bring a motorized scooter, mobility scooter. Let me specify that. Don't go up there on a motor, like a two-wheel motor scooter. They're not going to let you in. A mobility scooter or a stroller. You can take a stroller in whether you have kids or not. That's the great part of it. You don't even have to have kids to have a stroller. There are size restrictions on the stroller. They cannot be more than 31 inches wide or 52 inches long. You can't take wagons in. I know, like, that's the newer thing, is people like to put their kids in wagons just because it's easier. They won't let you do that. If you don't want to buy a stroller or motor scooter specifically for your trip to Disney, they rent them. You can rent a stroller from Disney. You can rent a motor scooter from Disney. And I don't know how much the strollers are, but the motor scooter was pretty affordable. I think I had paid $80, but when I returned it, I got $40 back. So it really only cost like $40 to rent the motor scooter. The reason I recommend this is because even though they don't have people constantly monitoring like the stroller parking and stuff like that, surprisingly people are really respectful about not going through strangers' things. And so you just park it in the stroller/scooter parking area. You can leave it there. If you have a scooter, take your key with you. I will say that. Make sure you always take your key with you. But, no one is going to bother it, and you don't have to carry anything around with you at all, So that's just my personal recommendation. I think I've taken snacks with us once when we went, and I still ended up buying food because I just prefer, to sit down and have a hot meal and, just relax. And snacks are not always the healthiest. you can buy healthy food in Disney parks. And yeah, they're more expensive than junk food, but you really just got to decide what you want to do. Um, this probably should have been the number one thing I said, but bring sunscreen. If you are not native to Florida, and even if you are native to Florida, take your damn sunscreen. This is why Florida sun is way different from your northern sun. I'm just going to tell you that right now. As someone who has lived in multiple places, I will even tell you, I used to live in El Paso, Texas. I feel like the sun in Florida is worse than that. Of course, I was younger and climates changed, so maybe it's just as bad. But even when we lived in Texas, we wore sunscreen. Um, sunscreen, sunscreen, sunscreen. And if you don't want to bring a big old tube, if you're just gonna have a little crossbody, they have those travel size sunscreens. Lather up with your big one at the hotel, and then use the smaller one to reapply throughout the day. That's my best recommendation for you, because I'm going to tell you one thing I've learned from my many vacation years as with my family. Um, Sunburn ruins your trip. It truly ruins your vacation. It makes life miserable, and you don't even want to do nothing else throughout the rest of the time. You just want to get on with it, right? So bring your sunscreen. All right, moving on. Next, bring a poncho or a raincoat, or I guess you could bring an umbrella. I don't really recommend umbrellas because Florida's the lightning capital of the world, supposedly. Um, and if it's lightning outside and you're holding an umbrella, you're just asking to be struck down. They do sell, I will say, they do sell ponchos and umbrellas at the theme parks, but the ponchos are not great quality. Like, they are trash. I'm just gonna tell you that it would probably you would probably benefit more from wearing a trash bag than you would from one of their ponchos. I know from experience that their ponchos are crap. So, and they are too expensive for their quality. So I recommend buying you a good quality poncho or raincoat, something that you can just shove in your backpack. Um, I mean, I really do recommend having a backpack to hold your things. And here's my other suggestion: bring extra socks. Most people, not all, but most people will wear tennis shoes to the theme park. If you're going on a water ride, I recommend taking your tennis shoes off and having like a pair of sandals in your bag to wear onto the water ride, and then you can switch back to your tennis shoes, because there's nothing worse in this world than walking around with your feet soaking wet, and it actually can cause damage to your feet, believe it or not. But the reason I say bring extra socks is because if it does rain and you get stuck in a rainstorm and your socks get soaking wet, at least you can change your socks. You can, go inside someplace. You're not supposed to take your shoes off, but take your shoes off. Hide your feet under the table for just a little while. Maybe have a drink or something. Let the shoes kind of dry out a little. Put your fresh socks on, and then go about your day. Even if your shoes are still a little wet, just changing your socks will help, because if they're soaking wet and you put dry socks on, it'll be so much better. Just throwing that out there. So please do not buy the Disney property ones. I can understand if you're like, oh, I forgot, and you have to get one. It's better than nothing, but honestly, I don't recommend them. So, I mean, do that with what you want. I just don't recommend them. Next, we're going to talk about the Genie Pass, which used to be called the Fast Pass. And I'm going to tell you that when it first came out, I was reading about it and I was like, this isn't worth it, because the way they word it on the site makes it sound like they might have changed it since I last looked at it. I don't know. But the way that it originally read was that you could get 2 fast passes for this price. But what it actually is you can get 2 fast passes at a time. So you see what's available in the morning, like at Park Open or whatever, and then you go do those fast passes first. As soon as you finish one fast pass, another one opens up to where you can book another one, and so you can just do like all the really long rides. So like, for example, at Magic Kingdom, Seven Dwarfs Mine Train, maybe it's gone down since the last time I went, but it used to be over an hour wait. Use a fast pass on it. When we went to Hollywood Studios, we used a fast pass on almost everything, especially the Star Wars rides, because those were really long waits. So it's definitely worth it, but you have to remember that you cannot book another fast pass until you've used one fast pass. So you want to kind of like look at all the rides, kind of gauge. They have an app that you can like actually look at what the wait times currently are, and so you can kind of look and see, well, this ride's already at an hour and I could get a fast pass for the time that's close by. Let's do that one, and kind of gauge it from there. But you also have to remember that if you're at the front of the park and you're booking something at the back of the park, you have a window to use that fast pass, and if you don't make it within that window, they won't let you use that fast pass. That fast pass expires. You can rebook, but it's going to put you in a new window, and it might not be right around the time that you finally got back to the park. So you kind of got to think about, how long is it going to take me to get from here to there? I'm going to tell you, from the front of let's do the front of Hollywood Studios to the Star Wars ride, you probably got about a 15-minute walk, give or take. It might be less, it might be more. It depends on how crowded the park is, to be honest with you. And if you're at the very front of the park, from there, about 10-15 minutes. So if you're planning on doing any other rides before you go there, might not be worth it. I do recommend doing the back of the park stuff first at Hollywood Studios. I know I said I was going to talk about the parks later, but because at nighttime is the Fantasmic show, and I definitely recommend, if that's on the Genie Pass towards the end of the night, you book it. I'm pretty sure almost everyone gets in anyway, but it's a great show. I seen it for the first time the last time we went to Hollywood Studios. Really good show, but it's only at nighttime. It's like their nighttime show. And so you want to kind of be at towards the front of the park at the beginning or at the end of the night, so you can go to that. So if you can get fast passes for everything in the back of the park without having to walk back and forth, which last time we were back and forth a bunch of times, which I didn't mind because I was in a motor scooter, but I just felt really bad for the people in our party that were walking, because it's a lot. It's a lot to just walk back and forth. It's worth it to be able to just basically walk onto the rides, but like, it's a lot of steps. So I would not have been able to keep up with them if I didn't have a motor scooter when we went. Oh my God, I would not have been able to do it. It's not a lazy thing. For those of you who are new and don't know, I have back and hip problems, and so I'm not a very fast walker. I used to be able to walk the theme parks all day and no problems, but since my accident, I have a hard time even walking a grocery store. So like, I would not be able to go to a theme park without using a motor scooter. I can't even go to the grocery store anymore without using a motor scooter, and that's sad. But it's my reality, it's my life, and it's something I'm learning to adjust to. And maybe one day they will find a fix for my back and hips. And I know the one lady I talked to at my current pain management place said that there is a surgery they could do. It's not guaranteed to work, but the surgeon wouldn't even consider me until I got under 40 BMI. And that, when she told me that I was bigger, I don't know if you guys can tell, but I've lost some weight. Anyway, since you guys last saw me, I've probably lost, I'm trying to think what last video I posted was filmed in April or May. I can't remember. But since then, I've already lost 20 pounds. So I'm losing weight. And really, it's just because I don't eat. Like, not by choice. I eat when I'm hungry. I will tell you that. I do eat when I'm hungry, but I'm just never hungry because I'm on so many appetite suppressants that I rarely get hungry anymore. And also, I'm on Mounjaro. I know this is not part of this video, but it's helped. So anyway, I just want to throw that out there, that I've lost weight, but still not enough to qualify for the surgery, because I need to get down to, I think it was like 220 pounds or something along those lines. And I'm still about 40 pounds away from that. So, and maybe, I don't know, and maybe in the future things will change. Maybe there'll be a different surgeon and he'll be like, I'll do it. I don't care. You know, I get why, because obese patients have more, there's more, what's the word I'm looking for? There's more complications possible under anesthesia. I already have a hard time coming out of anesthesia, which I always let them know that before I go under anesthesia. I always tell them, you're going to have to leave me on oxygen longer because I have a hard time coming out of it. And my body takes a longer time to get all the oxygenation back. I'm sure there's a different word for that. And they also put the patch on me because my very first time having surgery, I was like very nauseous when I woke up. And so now they put the patches on me, that like the anti-nausea patch, and those help so much. Anyway, what was I talking about? The fast pass. Oh my god, definitely. Guys, see what I mean? I get into these like, oh, I need to talk about this sort of things. I don't need to talk about it. But yeah, anyway, Genie Pass. Get the Genie Pass. It's more money per ticket. I think when we went, it was like $60 something extra per ticket, which is a lot of money, I know. But if you don't get to go to the parks very often, it's so worth it. You know, I know a lot of season pass members that go like every week that still pay for the Genie Pass. If I had season passes, I wouldn't be paying for Genie Pass because I would just be going to go, and whatever I got to ride, I got to ride, and then the next time I would ride other stuff. But I mean, I couldn't justify it if I had a season pass and was going all the time. But if you only get to go to Disney like once every few years, it's definitely worth it because you can get on almost everything. In fact, we rode everything at Hollywood Studios. Some things we rode twice. So, you know, it's definitely worth it. It's definitely worth it. So I'm just going to throw that out there. I think it is one of the things I would recommend the most as far as an extra cost, because I know my tips and tricks are not just about saving money. It's about having the best experience, and that would definitely give you the best experience is get the Genie Pass. It is definitely worth all the money. I'm telling you that right now. I haven't looked up the current pricing, but even if it was like an extra $100, I'm gonna be honest with you. If this is your one time going to the park for 5 years, it's worth the extra money. I'm just going to put that out there. I don't think it's that expensive. I'm just saying it would be worth it to me if I was only going, like, my brother and them were coming down, and they don't live in Florida, and they wanted to get everything done. So I said, well, you guys are getting it, I'll get it. And I honestly, because I don't go to the parks very often, like the last time I went was with my family 2 years ago, and the time before that was probably three or 4 years before that, maybe longer actually. I don't remember the last time before that. Actually, I do. It would have been two years before that, or 1 year before that. I can't remember, but it was just with my niece and nephews. So we went to Hollywood Studios that time too. So when I tell you I'm kind of over Hollywood Studios, I'd rather go to another park the next time. That's just me. I mean, they're adding stuff to Hollywood Studios. I don't think they're adding any new rides though, but we'll get to that when we get to talking about the parks. So, that being said, get the Genie Pass, guys. Get the Genie Pass. I'm sorry, I'm making a lot of noise. All right. So, the next thing I want to talk about is cash. Make sure you have cash on you. And I mean like paper money cash. Because sometimes credit card machines fail. They go offline or they just stop working, and you might be super thirsty or super hungry and really looking forward to that. And could you possibly go to another part of the park and find something? Possibly, but if it's a park-wide thing, you could be waiting a while before you can use your card again. So I just always recommend having some cash on you. At least, I would say at least $100 worth of cash on you. Because again, you never know. If you don't feel comfortable carrying a lot of cash on you, I completely understand, but you really should carry some and put it in as safe of a place as possible. If you're wearing a crossbody and you put it, in there, like in a baggie in there, buried under stuff or something along those lines, because you just never know. And I would really hate for your vacation to be ruined because the credit card systems went down and they couldn't get them back up, and you have to leave the park to go get something. And yeah, you can get re-entry, but it's you know what I'm saying? It'd just be a waste of time to have to drive off campus, because I'm pretty sure you would have to repay for your parking. So it would cost more money in the long run. And then if the credit card machines are still down when you got back from being off campus, how are you going to pay for your reentry back into the park if you don't have cash on you? I'm just saying, carry cash. Just carry cash. That's all I can really recommend is, carry some cash on you. I don't like carrying cash, so I'm with everyone there. And because I'll be honest with you, a lot of times I don't carry cash to the parks, but I live in Florida, so like it's like if my trip gets ruined, it gets ruined. I'll be disappointed in it, but like, but if I didn't live in Florida, I would have been so mad at myself for not being able to, I don't know how else to explain it. Just carry cash. Just carry some darn cash. It won't hurt anything. And if at the end you don't need it, you can go put it back in the bank. It's not that big of a deal. I mean, even us, we bank with banks that have no physical location, so we always have to go to an ATM that like sponsors them basically to withdraw money or to deposit money if we're depositing actual cash. So we are a mobile banking family, and there's always a solution to get your money in and to get your money out, regardless of if you have a brick and mortar bank or not. I'm just saying, carry some cash. I think that was it for the tips and tricks. One things I do recommend is to go to Disney Springs. I recommend, depending on how many days you're staying, if you're only going to be there for like 3 days and you want to go to the park all 3 days, go to the parks all 3 days. Okay? I'm not telling you not to do that, but if you are, let's say you're going to be in Florida for 6 days, you figured you'd have your first day that's not a full day, go to Disney Springs that day. But go to the old part of Disney Springs, because that's where all the Disney stores are. They even have a discount store. Go there, look around, okay? And then kind of take pictures or write down what you're wanting, write down the prices. Go to the parks, because sometimes the parks will have discounts on things that are cheaper than Disney Springs, but 90% of the time Disney Springs is going to be cheaper. So I always recommend going before, like on like a half day. And I say go to the old part because the new part of Disney Springs is all high-end retail stores. Like you have Anthropologie, there's a Coach, I think there's a Michael Kors. It's just very bougie area now. And I'm not about that life, but also if you walk past that, there's another old section, but it's mainly like a candy shop, but there's a candy shop in the other part as well, and they sell basically the same things. The only difference is the one at the other end has a big window, and you can stand outside and watch them make the stuff. You can watch them make them at the other one too. You just have to go inside, and you could be in people's way because customers are in and out of so really that's the only difference between the two old parts, is the one candy store. The rest is in the other old part. You have the movie theater, you have the bowling alley, you have oh my god, House of Blues, and some other restaurants down in that area. But I just recommend the one part. And go to Earl of Sandwich if you're hungry. Really good food. Sandwiches, but good. Really good. I'm trying to think if there's anything else. I mean, you have like Rainforest Cafe, and I think it's still there anyway. I mean, there's some like themey restaurants. I'll just be honest, the food at the themey restaurants aren't always the best. I personally like Earl of Sandwich, and there's also another place we ate at once. I can't think of it. We also ate at Chicken Guys or Chicken whatever, Guy Fieri's chicken restaurant, and I don't recommend it. It wasn't very good. For someone who like claims to be Flavor Town, it was very flavorless chicken. Anyway, but anyway, one of the things we used to do in downtown Disney Springs, sorry, it's called Disney Springs now, it will always be downtown Disney to me, is we used to ride the ferry boat, because the ferry boat will take you to 3 different resorts. And Old Key West, Saratoga Springs, and Port Orleans, which there's 2 parts of Port Orleans. There is the French Quarter and the Riverside, and you could go, oh, that's where we ate. We ate at Riverside. We ate at the restaurant there. Really good food. Anyway, you used to be able to take that ferry boat for free. I don't know if you still can, and I don't know if you can still just ride it to ride it. I don't know, because we didn't do it last time. And man, I forget. I forget what I was gonna say. Um, oh, you can go to actual resorts and eat, but I will tell you that if it's not connected to the ferry boat, the monorail, the boat, the other ferry boat that's can literally take you to the Disney parks or the Skyline, you will have to have a reservation to get onto the property because you have to go through a security gate at the resorts. And if you don't have a reservation to either stay at the hotel or to eat in the restaurant, they won't let you in. At least they didn't used to. Things might have changed, but I know if you got onto like the monorail at the parks and you're like, we're going to the Contemporary to have a snack, you could literally go to the Contemporary, eat, get back on the monorail, and go to the park. So, it's just it is like a tip, I guess, but the food isn't going to be any cheaper at the resorts. It'd probably be more expensive, to be honest, because I only ate at the one and we didn't go to the park that day. We literally just went to downtown Disney to walk around. And this is back in the day when Crystal and I lived in a hotel. We literally just would go to downtown Disney to just have a day out because it's free to walk around downtown Disney. You don't have to pay to get in. You didn't have to pay to ride the ferry boat, and we would just ride the ferry boat. It's so relaxing, and it just, is it the most exciting thing to do in the world? No, but it's something to do to break up the monotony of just working, going to school, and living in a crappy ass hotel, right? So, but yeah, that's something you can do. Anyway, what I was recommending before I got off track is go on your first day. If you don't find it cheaper in the parks, go back on your last day and get it. Simple as that. But again, if you're only going to be for like 3 days and all 3 days you have park tickets, go to the park. Way more important and more memorable than going to downtown Disney or Disney Springs. I keep calling it downtown Disney because I hate the name Disney Springs. Just saying. Anyway, I think that's it before we get into the parks. Yeah. So next we'll be talking about the parks. All right, let's start with Magic Kingdom. It is by far my favorite park of all. It's the only park I have dining recommendations for you. And there are a lot of places that I would eat in Magic Kingdom, but these ones are the more affordable options. Number one is Pecos Bill. I might be saying that wrong, but it's Pecos, P-E-C-O-S, Bill. The best thing there, I will be quite honest with you, is the pulled pork sandwich. I love that sandwich. In fact, I love that sandwich so much that anytime I go to Magic Kingdom, I will only eat at that restaurant and get the pulled pork sandwich. I know that sounds crazy to say, but I absolutely love that sandwich. Like, it's so good. And I'm very particular about my pulled pork. And honestly, maybe some of the other parks sell it. I don't know. I'd never seen it at, like, I know I never seen it at Hollywood Studios. I don't remember seeing it at Animal Kingdom. But oh my god, it's so good. If you like pulled pork, I recommend the pulled pork sandwich at Pecos Bill. Recommend it. Recommend it. Recommend it. The other one that's really affordable is the Cosmic Rays in Tomorrowland. Oh, Pecos Bill is in Frontierland. Okay? Sorry, I meant to tell you where it was at. It's in Frontierland. Alright, so the next one is Cosmic Rays in Tomorrowland. They're good. Their fries are always really good, which I know that sounds crazy to say that, oh, you're talking about French fries. And I'm sure the fries are probably universal throughout the parks. but like maybe it's just the way they cook them. I don't know. They always seem more superior at Cosmic Rays. Maybe it's just the affordability of it. They also have really good hamburgers there. Again, it could be the way they're cooking it because I'm pretty sure it's the same hamburgers throughout all the parks, but they just taste really good there. I don't go there to get hamburgers. I always get my pulled pork sandwich, but if I need a snack, I stop and get fries at Cosmic Rays. I'm just telling you that right now. Those are my two affordable eating things in the Disney parks. Rides. Let's just talk about some of the rides at Magic Kingdom. There are new rides that I've not ridden. There's a lot of construction going on, not only in Magic Kingdom, but in all of the parks. So I'm just going to let you know that now there's a lot of construction going on, and most of the things that I know of aren't even going to be open in any time this year. So let's talk about the railroad. The railroad is currently under construction. It would have been one of my recommendations, but it's not under construction. Let me rephrase that. Part of where the railroad goes is under construction, and so it doesn't go anywhere but to the kiddie area, with like where the Dumbo ride and stuff is. I forget what it's called. I should know what it's called, but I forget what it's called, to be honest with you. Let me look. Hold on. All right, I looked. It's called Fantasyland. But it's like it only goes to the Fantasyland drop off and then back to Main Street. So it literally only goes back and forth. Supposedly it still gives some of like the park history and stuff like that. I don't know, but it's a pretty short ride from Main Street to Fantasyland drop off. So I guess it really will depend on if you want to just ride it for the experience or not, but it is only going to that one area. I don't know why it wouldn't go up to Adventureland. Maybe there wasn't a train station in Adventureland. In fact, I think the train station's in Frontierland, which part of that is under construction. So that's probably why. Alright, yeah, I guess that makes sense. But anyway, the railroad is only going one area right now. Jungle Cruise, definitely recommend Jungle Cruise. It's a little cheesy, but it's fun. So I recommend that for sure. Let's see, Pirates of the Caribbean, again, this ride, okay, I will tell you if it's a roller coaster. So every ride, basically in Magic Kingdom, almost every single ride is kid friendly, like little kid friendly. There are some exceptions where they have to be a certain height to ride it. And some of them might have changed. Like, I can't remember if Splash Mountain had a restriction or not. But anyway, I'll let you know if it's a roller coaster, because all of the roller coasters do have restrictions. So Pirates of the Caribbean is a fun ride, and it's uncanny how good their oh my god, animatronics look like Johnny Depp. And in fact, there was a rumor that when it first opened, they didn't have that animatronic done or whatever, and so Johnny Depp himself actually was playing the animatronic basically. And Jack Sparrow in that ride pops up in a lot of different places, not just at the end. So it's always fun to think that what if Johnny Depp is actually here today and in the ride. I know Disney supposedly fired him, which big mistake in my opinion, because he is Jack Sparrow. And also, he was found not guilty. So Amber Head, or whatever her name is, was apparently, they found out that she made all of it up or something like that. So I don't know why they fired him. I think it's just like the PR people try to get ahead of things, and then it ends up biting them in the ass, because if they would have just waited for his outcome, you know, but you know, sometimes people burn bridges that they probably shouldn't have burned before, like as early as they did. Anyway, next ride, Big Thunder Mountain. It is under construction. It is currently not open. In fact, I have mixed feelings about it, because it was a wooden roller coaster. It's no longer a wooden roller coaster. They took all the wooden roller coaster part and put in a steel roller coaster, and now they're still working on it to try to make the steel part of the roller coaster look wood, because they still want you to have the feel like looking at it as a wooden roller coaster, but in reality it's not a wooden roller coaster any longer. The perk of it being a steel roller coaster is maybe you won't get whiplash on it anymore. I don't know. I guess we will see in the future, but like, it used to give you like severe whiplash, like horrible whiplash, but it was all fun. It was all fun. I loved it. Next, Haunted Mansion. It's a must. It's a must. It's not scary if you have little kids. I don't think it would be considered scary. I guess it really depends on what your kids are afraid of. But it's really quirky, in my opinion, and it's just fun all around. I don't know how else to explain it. Mickey's I cannot say it. Mickey's PhilharMagic. It is a 3D show. It's so cute. It's so funny. I've seen it multiple times, and I still laugh when I go to it. It's just really fun. Small World is a must. Small World is just a must. I'm just going to throw that out there. You must ride It's a Small World. I know everyone's like, ugh, not that song, but it's like, you have to ride it at least once. If you've never been to Disney or Magic Kingdom, you need to ride it for the experience. Not to mention that it's like, I feel like it does a really good job about showing all the different cultures in the world. And they, at the end, like, it tells you how to say, I think goodbye or something in all the languages. I don't remember. But, and I think, if I remember correctly, I'm pretty sure it switches languages throughout the song too. Like, it starts singing It's a Small World in different languages. So if I remember that correctly, I'm pretty sure that's what it does. But it's a really, really cute and must ride at least once. You will have the song stuck in your head for the rest of your trip, but it's definitely worth it. Space Mountain roller coaster. So there is size restrictions. Is it still there? I'm trying to think. Is Space Mountain even still there? I thought they switched it out for Tron. And if they did, I'm sorry that I said Space Mountain. It's still on the thing as Space Mountain, so that's weird. Because now I'm starting to remember that maybe it got switched out for Tron, but I pulled up the maps for this year and it's clearly says Space Mountain on it. Regardless, if it's Tron now, I'm sorry. I can't remember if Tron was in Magic Kingdom or a different world. or a different world. But either way, either one is going to have size restrictions. And maybe they haven't built Tron out here yet. Maybe that was California. I don't remember. I can't keep up with all I watch. I will tell you about a couple people I watch at the end here. Well, one of them that I watch for sure, because I can't remember the other guy's name. I will link both of them below. The one is specifically only for Disney World. The other one does all the Disney parks, mainly Magic Kingdom, and then they will give updates on Disneyland, but they also occasionally give updates on like Disney Paris, Disney Tokyo, all the other Disneys out there. They do occasionally give updates on those. So anyway, so Space Mountain is fun. It's again, I don't know how it is now, but it used to be like almost a pure dark roller coaster type thing. One time I rode it and the lights were on, and it was so disappointing, like, because you could see everything coming up at that point, and it's just so much fun in a pure dark when you can't see. And that might not be Space Mountain now that I'm thinking of it, but I'm pretty sure it was. I don't remember. Is that sad? I haven't been to Magic Kingdom in so long. I just remember it was a fun ride. Carousel Progress, I do recommend. It's very, very educational, and it also does have a song that will be stuck in your head. But like, it goes through all, I don't remember what year starts, but it goes throughout the whole, like, decade by decade, basically. Like all the technology updates, like the appliance updates, stuff like that. It just goes through it all. It's just a really fun thing to sit through and watch. So I definitely recommend that. Monsters Inc. Laugh Floor. Oh my lord. Definitely do this. I will tell you that if you have kids, you're more likely to get the characters to like call on you for things. Or if you're wearing like a really funny shirt or something like that, they like to pick people out and not like be mean about things. They're never like facetious, but they poke fun. So just be aware of that you might get called. And so if you don't want to be possibly poked at, maybe don't go. I personally don't care. I've never been poked at. I usually try to sit in the back anyway. So I guess that's part of the reason I don't care. But yeah. Anyway, if it's really hot and you just need to cool down, Hall of Presidents. I'm going to tell you right now, it is the most boring thing. And the first time I watched it, it was actually educational, but I've seen it so many times now, even with like all the new presidents, it is what it is. But it's so relaxing because the seats are so soft, and it's so cold in there. Like, not unbearably cold, but it's cold in there, and it's just nice to sit down in the air conditioner, and just, you could fall asleep and you might enjoy the nap because it's pretty long show. I want to say it's probably 45 minutes to an hour long, and they don't like it when you get up and leave in the middle of it. I'm just going to say that. So be prepared to stay the whole time. Take a nap if you want, but it's just nice to just sit there and relax. Obviously, if you're on a time crunch, skip it. Unless you like history, then it's really good. Like I said, the first time I watched it, I enjoyed it, but it's the same show, except for when you get a new president, they add their part into it. So I haven't been since Obama was president last time I went. So I haven't been since Obama got added to it. So wasn't someone added? So Joe Biden's not. I haven't seen Joe Biden. I haven't seen Trump. Has there been another president? Is that weird? I can't remember if there's been another president. I don't think so. Just Joe Biden and Trump, right? Anyway, so continue on with Magic Kingdom. I'm trying to hurry, but I keep coming up with new things to talk about. Stay for the nighttime parade. Watch the fireworks. If you've never seen it, do it. It's so amazing. Their fireworks shows are just, to me, the best. And the nighttime parade, if they still have it, I think they do, but don't quote me on it. But it's like, it used to be called the Electrical Light Parade. I think they might have changed the name of it. I don't know. But it's just so fun. It's just so fun. And especially if you have little kids, it's so fun to watch. Now, let's see, October, it will start getting dark earlier. So they'll usually do the parade earlier than close. But like during the summer when it's still daylight at 9 o'clock, the parade is like right before the fireworks. But during the darker months, when it gets dark at like 6 o'clock, they usually do the parade earlier in the day. Like not earlier in the day, earlier in the evening. So like around 7-ish or 8-ish. And then right before close, they do the fireworks show. So just putting that out there, it's the parade time is going to be dependent on sunset. They will tell you in the morning, like if you get the map thing they have there, or you can look at the digital one if you want. I always get the paper one because I don't want to use my phone to constantly be looking at the map and stuff like that. I mean, I don't need the maps anymore. I will if I go to Epcot, but like if I go to Magic Kingdom, I definitely don't need the map. Hollywood Studios, I don't need the map. I probably would at Animal Kingdom. I haven't been there in forever. So anyway, yeah. That's it for Magic Kingdom. Let's move on to Animal Kingdom. All right, so for Animal Kingdom, I don't really have a lot to talk about. I've only been to Animal Kingdom maybe twice, maybe 3 times. Not a lot. I honestly can't remember. I think I've only been twice. The reason I say possibly 3 times is because it's my cousin's favorite park because she loves animal. But anyway, recommendations for that. Festival of the Lion King. It is a show. It is so good. I love it. I do recommend watching at least once if you're going to Animal Kingdom. I mean, obviously, if it's just, I don't mean watch it more than once in the same day, but like if you were going to Animal Kingdom and then the next time you went to Animal Kingdom, maybe you want to leave that out, or maybe be like, oh, I've already seen it, so let's do everything else. If we have time, we'll watch it again, sort of situation. But you should at least watch it once. It's a very fun show. Kilimanjaro roller coaster, so there will be size restrictions, but it's so... No, wait, hold on, not Kilimanjaro. Oh my god, Kilimanjaro. Kilimanjaro is the safari. Sorry about that. Not a roller coaster. It is a safari ride. Do not put your kids on the edge. I know you want your kids to be able to see the animals and stuff like that, but there is a part of the ride where they go over a bridge, and if your child falls off into the water, they're not stopping. They're going to keep going. In fact, they're going to speed off faster because that bridge is where they feed the alligators or crocodiles. I think it's alligators. But anyway, That's where they feed the crocodiles, or I just said alligators. It's where they feed those things. And so if anything hits the water, they just automatically think it's food and they go for it. So your kid will be no more. They're gone. They're dead. And you'll have no one else to blame but yourself because you put them on the edge when they specifically even tell you at the beginning of the ride, keep your kids in the middle. So just putting that out there, keep your kids in the middle. And that's not the only part. If they fall off near the lions, you think they're going to be able to stop the lions in time? Although they're probably safer falling off by the lions than they would be if they fell in with the hippos. I don't know if they still have these animals there, because there has been talks about rehoming all the animals and getting rid of that part of Animal Kingdom because of all the controversy going around right now with zoos and stuff like that. So there has been talks about them sending animals back to their native areas. So I don't know what animals they would still have and what they don't have. And I don't know. So, but just know that if they still have that ride, do not put your kids on the edge. Do as they say and keep your kids in the middle. You do not want your kids to fall out near these animals because they are wild animals. And, you know, you just never know. For sure on the bridge, they'd be gone. They would definitely be gone if they fell off on the bridge. I'm just going to throw that out there. There would be no saving them at that point. You just might as well plan the funeral. And you won't have anything to bury because you'll have the bones. You'll have the bones if they can get the bones back for you. But let's just say you won't have anything to bury. So just do as they say. They say it because it's a safety thing. But you will have no idea how many times I've been on that ride and they keep the kids in the middle, but once they start driving, because they're not going to say any, like they can still see you. And sometimes they'll say something, but if they don't see the switch, they won't say anything. But there's been so many times where like they would literally pick their kid up, put them on their lap. If your kid squirms a lot, they're gone. You know, they're off. Yeah. Just do as they say is all I'm saying. Just do as they say. They say these things for safety reasons. Ugh, it just annoys me how many parents are like, they'll be fine. They'll be fine. You don't know that. You don't know that. So why would you risk it? Why would you risk your child possibly falling off into the pond, the water, and being eaten alive? Why would you risk that? Sorry. It just annoys me how cavalier some parents are. Like, it just, it annoys me because, you know, I can't have kids. I think I've mentioned that before. So it annoys me when I go to parks, and not just theme parks, but the beach and stuff like that. And parents are just like, they don't pay attention to their kids. They don't care what their kids do. I don't think I would be a helicopter parent, but at the same time, if it's a safety thing, you better believe, like, whenever I took my niece or nephews to the beach, I was on them like a hawk. I would watch them, and then like Justin would actually go into the water with them. I don't go into the water unless I have to, you know, 'cause sharks. But yeah, I was constantly watching them. If they were with me, I wasn't reading a book. I wasn't on my phone. I was literally watching them, because to me, they're more important than anything else in this world. So, and yes, I say that I would put my niece and nephews over Stitch, and Stitch is my baby. But if it came down to someone had a gun to both of them and said you can only choose one, I'm choosing my niece and nephews over Stitch. And I love both of them. But you better believe after that person killed my dog, I would get the gun from them and kill them. Anyway, that's probably going to be blocked. This probably be off there before you even see it. Sorry about that. Anyway, just watch your kids. Just follow the rules. Watch your kids. Sorry, I went on a tangent. Kali River Rapids. That is one of the water rides. If you've ever been on the tube ride at any other theme park, it's almost like that. It's basically that. But there's way more chances of coming out that ride soaking wet than any other park I've ever been to. Just throwing that out there. There's more waterfalls. There's more like splashy thingies. Just, it's amazing. I love it. Especially great on a hot day. Expedition Everest. Oh my God. Expedition Everest is a roller coaster, but it's one of my favorite roller coasters. It will take you up, like it's really fast. It'll take you up. It looks like you're about to like fly off because the track ends, but it stops and then you reverse and you start doing everything backwards, and then you get to another stopping point and it turns you. Then you see the Yeti and then it's like your guys are being chased by the Yeti basically, and so you're going really fast and then you get to the really big drop. It's so fun. I basically explained the whole ride to you, but it's so much funner to experience in person. Ride Expedition Everest if you don't have really small kids, or if you have really small kids, take turns. They have single rider lines, or at least they used to, that are kind of like the fast pass in a way, because you could just walk through the single rider line and they put you with other single riders that possibly just stood in line with their friends, but they're going to have to sit alone, and so they'll put you in there. So usually you get on there pretty quickly, but just saying, take turns, ride that ride. It's great. Dinosaur was on my list, but I'm pretty sure it's shut down because Dinosaur is turning into Indiana Jones, and there's construction going on in that area as well. They're building an Encanto ride and something else, and then Dinosaur's getting switched to Indiana Jones. Did I even tell you about the construction in Magic Kingdom? I don't think so. Let's go back to Magic Kingdom for a minute. I'm sorry, but in Magic Kingdom, Tom Sawyer Island is gone. It was actually on my recommendations, but it's not there anymore. I know we talked about Big Thunder Mountain construction, but I forgot to talk about how Sawyer Island is gone. Tom Sawyer Island, no mas. But in that area, they are building Cars Land. And then behind Cars Land is going to be the Villains Land. So lots of exciting things. You see, I love Maleficent. She is my favorite villain. I'm so excited for Villains Land, guys. Now, I don't always love the villain, but I love Maleficent. She is my absolute favorite villain. I don't know why. I just love her. I've always loved her. I don't know. So anyway, that's what's going on in Magic Kingdom construction-wise. And then that was the end of Animal Kingdom, where dinosaurs no more. They're turning it into Indiana Jones. And I've noticed that a lot of like the animal themed rides, like dinosaur, I know dinosaurs, some people don't believe they're real and etc., but a lot of those are being switched over to non-animal. So I almost wonder if they're trying to transition out of being Animal Kingdom into something else, because there's talks of getting rid of the actual live animals. So that's something to keep a watch on in the future if you're a big Disney fan. Because of all the talks of getting rid of the live animals, are they going to change Animal Kingdom into a different type of park? Like, are they going to start calling it something else? There is the Pandora area. I've never been since Pandora's been put in, so I can't speak to that. But just know it's there. So if you go to Animal Kingdom and you do the Pandora things, let me know if I should do them. But yeah, that's it for Animal Kingdom. Next, Hollywood Studios. All right, so Hollywood Studios. There's a lot. I've been to Hollywood Studios more times than I care to count. So that being said, let's go through these as quickly as I possibly can because this video is already at an hour and 20 minutes, 24 minutes before recording this section. So I'm really sorry, guys. So let's go through this. Mickey and Minnie's Runaway Rail Train. I rode it for the first time last time I went to the Disney park, we went the time before that. So I rode it twice. It's so cute. It's just so cute. And if I remember right, they have an option that it doesn't do the twirling and stuff. I could be thinking of a different theme park. So, but I think that maybe they had the option. I don't remember. But it's really fun. It's really cute ride. Indiana Jones stunt show. It's a good stunt show the first time you've seen it. The fourth time you've seen it, you know, you already know what's going to happen, so it's not as exciting, but I recommend it if you've never seen it before. The Star Tours, I will give a motion sickness warning. If you suffer from vertigo or motion sickness, just be warned. My brother did actually throw up on this ride. I was close to it. I actually closed my eyes because my vertigo could not handle it. So I kept my eyes closed most of the time. Every now and then I would squint open so I could do the controls and stuff because you're basically flying the ship or whatever your role is. And so I was getting very, very, very nauseous. And luckily I didn't throw up. But also, almost everyone else had ice cream and stuff right before, and I didn't. So maybe that's why. Next, Rise of Resistance. It was kind of like the same concept as Mickey and Minnie's Runaway Rail Train. It's just different themed, but it was fun. It was definitely fun too because you see Kylo Ren and stuff like that. So it's definitely fun to go through that. If you're not a Star Wars fan, I still recommend riding it. I personally am a newer Star Wars fan. I don't like some of the movies. I'm just gonna put that out there. I don't like some of the movies. Smuggler's Run, again, motion sickness warning. Basically all of the Star Wars rides I recommend. They were fun. Slinky Dog Dash, we rode that twice. So fun. It is so fun. In fact, there's a part in it that even I felt like I was coming out of the roller coaster because you dip real quick, but then the way it works, you dip real quick, but then you go back up, and so it pushes you right back down immediately. So yeah, that was real fun. I loved that one. Toy Story Mania, I heard that they're changing the guns out on that one, but it's one that you used to pull, and you would aim at these targets and you pull this string. It's really fun, especially little kids love it because they get to play with the fake gun thing. So Rock and Roller Coaster is one of my favorite roller coasters. It is Aerosmith theme, but I did hear that they're changing the theme to not be Aerosmith anymore. I don't know what they're changing it to. Watch the people I follow. They've mentioned it once that it could possibly be changing things, but I don't remember because it was not finalized at that point. Another one of my favorite rides is Tower of Terror, which is so weird that I love that ride so much because like the idea of free falling scares me. And that ride, you basically, if you don't know what Tower of Terror is, you go through like this whole storyline, which the one in California, it's already been changed to Guardians of the Galaxy. I don't know if they're going to be changing the one in Hollywood Studios or not. There's been talks about people getting mad that they changed it in Hollywood, so they're probably not going to change it here, but everything changes over time, and so it's probably just a matter of time before they do change it. So anyway, you go through like this little bit of story. The whole time you're doing the story, you're actually going higher and higher, right? So you go up, you're going up, but then it opens, you go through like this whole story. It's basically taking you to the front part of the tower where it opens up this door, you see the park, and then you just drop, and then you bounce back up, you drop, you bounce back up, you drop. And I think it's really dependent on the weight of the cart at the time with how many people's in it. I think maybe like 30 people is in one cart, maybe a little less, I don't remember, but I think it might be it's either 20 to 30 people in one cart. So it really depends on the weight of that cart, how many times you're going to be bounced. So just so you know, there's been times where we only bounced 3 times and we fell, and then we fell, and then there's been times that I've bounced 6 times and then we fell. And it really feels like when you fall for the final time, it feels like you're falling to your death. It's so scary, but at the same time it's exhilarating, and I love that ride I don't know why. Fantasmic, I've already talked about. It's their nighttime show. Definitely recommend you guys watching that if you're going to Hollywood Studios. And another one that I watched for the first time last time we went was Beauty and the Beast. I love Beauty and the Beast, and so I really enjoyed it. It's like they put on a little play, basically. It's so fun. I loved it, and I recommend it. But if you aren't a big theater person, so you don't like going to Broadway plays or anything like that, or if you hate musicals, it's probably not for you. Just throwing that out there. But I personally loved it. But I love musicals. I love Beauty and the Beast. And so yeah, that's it for Hollywood Studios. Construction wise, there is a part where right now there used to be Mama Rizzo's, Remy's Pizza something. Anyway, that whole area is under construction. They're redoing the whole area. So there's going to be construction in every park. I'm sorry to report that, but nothing I can do about it. Is there construction in Epcot? I'm pretty sure there is. I just don't know what the construction is over there. So anyway, next is the final park, which is Epcot. All right, our last park we're going to talk about is Epcot. And the reason this one is last is because I told you at the beginning, I've kind of been, but not really. And the reason I say kind of been is because I've never been to the countries. I've only gone with my cousin ever, and she didn't like going to the countries. We literally only went there, rode 3 rides, and went to a different park. So I'm just throwing that out there, that I've only ever been to these 3 rides, but I will recommend these 3 rides. If you go to Epcot and go to the Worlds, please tell me how you liked it, because I want to go to Epcot so bad, and I want to do the worlds. There's rides within the worlds. I think they didn't used to have rides back there. It used to just be shows and stuff. My cousin's not a big show person. She would rather ride a ride. So anyway, that being said, Spaceship Earth is the big globe thing when you first walk into the park. It is actually a ride. It is a very slow moving ride. It's very informational. You get a lot of learning when you go to Disney in a lot of parks. And they try to hide this education through fun. So just know that your kids could learn something at these parks. I did hear that the reason they added more rides, though, is to make the park more family friendly, because it was never really fun for kids. It was more geared towards adults. So they're trying to make it more kid friendly, basically. Next is Test Track. It's probably called something else by now. The last time I rode it, though, which I know it's been rethemed at least, you used to go through this thing and it talked about test crash dummies, and they'd show you things with test crash dummies. And so I think it switched to like a NASCAR type of theme, or a race car, basically. Not necessarily NASCAR, but a race car thing. I didn't do that one. When I went, it was test crash dummies. And then last, but certainly not least, Soarin'. Soarin' is amazing. And it's different from the one in California. So if you are from California and you're visiting Florida, just know that our Soarin' is different from yours, because I'm pretty sure your Soarin' only goes through California, where our Soarin' goes throughout the whole world. So just keep that in mind. It is different. So if you're coming from California and you're coming to Disney World for the first time, but you're a Disneyland enthusiast and you're like, oh, we have Soarin', I don't need to ride that. Or we have the Haunted Mansion, I don't need to ride that. You do. You need to ride all of them. What is with my hair? Ah! Gotta put my ears back on to end this. So yeah, that's it. That's all of it. That's every park, everything I know about the parks, everything I can recommend about the parks. I'm sorry I couldn't do more. Like I said, I don't live in Orlando. I don't go very often anymore. Although I would love to be able to go at least once a week, it's just not possible. So that being said, thank you so much for watching this video. If you liked it, give it a thumbs up. Comment down below any tips or tricks you would have if you have been to Disney. What tips and tricks would you have included? If you haven't done so already, subscribe, guys. I will see you guys real soon, I hope. Bye.